know I was looking for something different. I was definitely asking. And, I lived a lot of my life just sort of going, this can't be it. This can't be it. This can't be it. There has to be something different. There has to be something more. Using the clearing statement would be like, when you've got your computer open, you've got all these programs and lots of different things going on. And I feel like me, I don't shut it that much. And then my computer just goes, hey. And I'm like, okay, time to close everything down. It's like that. You're just going delete, 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 delete. And it's like this reboot, okay? Magic is in every moment.
Welcome to the Choice, Change and Action podcast, where you get to choose, change and take action to create a different today and a different future.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Choice, Change and Action podcast. And you are with your host, Simone Milasas, and I am doing solo today. Yes, I'm doing solo because there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. And one of them is access consciousness, and one of them is the clearing statement with access consciousness, because it's changed. And it's changed. We've added, I think, 3 things over the past, 2 things over the past month, and I think 3 things over the past year or so. So how does the clearing statement work? Well, everything is based on energy. So, and you know that. I was listening to this podcast today with Joe Rogan, and you know what? The guy's name, the guy's name is Evan Haffer. I don't know if I've said that correct or not. It's episode 2230, and I haven't finished it yet, and it's a really interesting podcast, and there's a lot of stuff on there. I think of things that people may not want to admit are occurring in the world today. And wow, didn't think I was going down this road. But there's literally like more sex trafficking in the world today and more people under some sort of slavery than ever before. So anyway, so everything that is, see how like that sort of went heavy in your world if you're listening to this. So everything that is, so basically when I'm writing the clearing statement, everything that brings up in your world, okay, no matter what it is, if you go, oh, that's terrible, that's bad, that's awful, I don't want to know about it, I don't want to hear about it, or or something else, it's like whatever comes up in your world, this is where you use the clearing statement. So everything that is times a godzillion. And I love adding the godzillion because it's a number that is so big, only God knows it. It's a joke, okay? So times a godzillion, it's just a really lot of times that you are clearing the stuff from here. So everything that is times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9, shorts, boys, provads, bases, creations, and beyond, okay? So a lot of different things have showed up with this clearing statement. And to be honest, it's like I would just run the clearing statement over and over again as well. So right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9, shorts, boys, provads, bases, creations, and beyonds. Now, you can go to theclearingstatement.com and find out more with my friend, Dr. Dane, here and myself talking about it. And it's an older video. And a lot of people have been pinging me and asking me about the clearing statement. So I thought, why not do a podcast on it so that I have it and I can send it to people as well. Now, when I first heard the clearing statement, when I actually first came along to Access Consciousness, I know I was looking for something different. I was definitely asking. And, I lived a lot of my life just sort of going, this can't be it. This can't be it. This can't be it. There has to be something different. There has to be something more. I'm not saying that, if you go to school and then leave and get married and have kids and have a career, that's a bad thing. In fact, it's a freaking beautiful thing that you can choose that. Okay. And I just didn't desire to choose so many things that other people were choosing. One of them was relationships. I very much had in my world, I don't want to do relationship. My justification to myself was, I don't see a good one. Why would I choose one? Right? That's what I was telling myself. You know what? I didn't really put much thought into it, but I did judge myself. I did go to the wrongness of it because you're meant to be a couple. You're meant to be in a relationship. You're meant to be doing all of that. And I would have I don't know, I would have affairs or, a fun time is what I would call it with different people for a couple of months. And then I was like done and I wanted to move on. And which isn't looked upon as something, especially at that time, isn't looked upon as something that is a great choice. Okay. There's too many points of view about it. But for me, I wanted to travel the world so badly. I really desired to see everywhere in the world I could. And I also desired to start a business. And I had no idea what that business was going to be. I just knew that if I could start something, then I could access this, this creative capacity that I had to create some sort of change in the world. I didn't know what that was. I really honestly didn't. I just had this concept that this can't be it. There's got to be something different. There's got to be something more. There's got to be a greater possibility here. Living on this planet, I was like, my God, this planet is amazing. And I just didn't have that sense that people were appreciative of it or wanting to explore it. And I guess I'm an explorer. And then coming Gary Douglas, I met him first, the founder of Access Consciousness, and I met Dr. Dane here shortly afterwards. And look, they were just, I'm going to say so different, but here's the thing. Their difference was they were being them, and everybody else, there's so many people that you surround yourself by, pretend to be something or get it or pretend to be getting it right or pretend to be happy or, whatever that is. Or there's also those people in your life that I'm sure you know about is there's very, very few times that you see them in this sense of peace or joy because they're always complaining about something. They're always angry. They're always frustrated. They're always blaming everybody else. Like there's a lot of different energies that people choose, and they choose that to live or actually have a life because it's not really living. So I met Gary and Dane, and like I said, Gary asked me a bunch of questions. And if you've been listening to my podcast, I probably have spoken about this before, but he asked me a bunch of questions, and I was going through a whole lot of stuff at that time in my life, and I didn't know what to choose next, basically. I just kept going one foot in front of the other. And how many times throughout your life have you been in a situation where something's showing up, and it could be money, business, relationships, family, anything, and you just like one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. Now, the interesting thing is that's actually a really great tool to function from 10-second increments. It's like this 10 seconds, what am I choosing? Next 10 seconds, what am I choosing? And, don't try and work it out. Don't try and go to a conclusion or find a result that you think, should show up that's going to create something greater. And that's a whole lot of stuff on control. And that's a whole other podcast, I'm sure. Because if you were willing to be out of control, which the clearing statement contributes to that, then you can have a very different reality. Okay. And this podcast is about choice, change, and action. So I would like to invite you to have a look today at any area of your life that you would like to choose something different, right? Choice, change it, and take some action. You've got to take some action, okay? You really got to take some action. So if you'd like more money in your life, take some action, okay? What action are you going to take to have that money? Now, it's not all linear. It doesn't mean, I've got to go off and get 4 jobs. I've got to go off and do this. The action could be choosing one of the tools from Access Consciousness that we use in regards to money, and they're all in my Getting Out of Debt Joyfully book. Maybe buy yourself that book, on Audible, or read it. Maybe read it because then you can put some post-it notes and highlight it, etc. Buy yourself that gift for Christmas. I have a money challenge coming out on the 1st of January because why not? Okay, no. And money challenge, and it's you get a call with me, an energy pull. You finish off with a call with me, but there's a bunch of videos in between, and I think it's like 10 days, 10 or 14 days, and they're short and snappy videos, but the point is take the action and start choosing something different. Okay. Now that's, I just did a plug for my money challenge. And what about your body? What are you choosing with your body? quite a few years ago, I started asking to be more flexible and have more strength. Okay, well, you can't just sit around and ask for strength and flexibility, or can you? No, literally, you actually can. And what movement would your body like? Okay. So what movement would your body like? So then I started, choosing, taking action, different things that would create more strength and more flexibility in my body, and loving it, by the way. Like, none of this should be a punishment. Your life becoming greater and becoming more is not a punishment. Okay. It's not a reward for all the times that you think you're fucked up. You actually should be choosing to live in totality, whatever that is. So today, I'm leaving in 1 week to go to Europe, and I had a lot of things on. And so a couple of days ago, I went through my whole calendar and was like, okay, I need to reschedule or cancel a few things. And I did cancel something I had on today with some friends. And, people go to, oh, well, it wasn't work, it wasn't this. Yeah, but it was still the energy. And I knew that I needed to have at least one day of what the Italians like to call it, which I love, is cazzeggiati. Okay, cazzeggiati. I think the best English description of that is like just dicking around. Okay, like you're just fucking around, you're doing whatever. Now, if I look at my day to day, it's like I've gone to the markets, I've cooked, I've baked, I actually went for a hike, and I got super tired, and so I just lay on the couch and I watched the end of this movie. And then it's hot here in Australia, so I went to the beach. I lay on the beach, just lay in the sun. And you know what? One of my favorite things of lying in the sun is looking up, especially when there's clouds, and watching the clouds. And I was just asking myself questions, which I'm going to get to because this is part of the clearing statement. Because I was a little not weirded out today, but just like when you're just a little off kilter. And what I was doing when I was hiking was running the clearing statement too. So right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, proverbs, bases, creations, and beyond. So let's look at this. Now, if you've been in Access for a while, you know a lot of the clearing statement, but I'm going to run through some of it. And you can use this with anything, okay? Anything. So let's pick something. I mean, a lot of people, relationships, body, money, business, family, these are like very top topics, but you could choose anything. But let's choose money, okay? Especially as we're heading into Christmas. We've also got, a lot of the world is being told that we're in recession. We just had the US election, the US dollar, the price of gold, Chinese dollar, all this sort of stuff. There's so much speculation of what's going on. And how many of you are freaking out about money right now? Oof. Okay, apparently always interesting to me when I'm pre-recording this and you can still tap into the energy. So everything at that is, and everywhere that you are freaking out about money right now, will you destroy and uncreate it? Yeah, maybe it's not yours. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, proverbs, bases, creations, and beyonds. Okay, so let's look at this in regards to money. Okay, so you've got right and wrong, good and bad. So in regards to money, you go, what's good, perfect, and correct about this? What's wrong, mean, vicious, terrible, bad, and awful about this? What's right and wrong, good and bad? Okay, so in regards to money, you create, and this is where the basis comes in, which I will talk more about. But the basis at the end of it is, what are you basing your choice on? Like, what are you now currently basing your financial reality on? Is it your family? Is it your job? Is it your culture? Is it your religion? That your sex, male, female, etc. What are you basing your financial reality on? Notice there's an energy that pops up. Now, you may not cognitively know what that energy is, but there's an energy. You don't have to peel the layers of the onion and go, oh, this is what it is when my Aunt Betty did this, or, when I was at school, when I was 6, and you don't have to do that. You may have an awareness of something, great. But when we POC and POD it, the whole idea is, let's delete all of it. So we have this blank slate. So you have infinite choice because you're an infinite being. You should have infinite choice. Okay. So in regards to money, in regards to your financial reality, that beginning of the clearing statement, right and wrong, good and bad. So what's good about money? What's perfect about money? What's correct about this? Now, it could be having money, or in my book, Getting Out of Debt Joyfully, I talked about this. that I preferred to have no money for so long because I knew that energy. So if I went, what's good, perfect, and correct about this, that would be, well, what's good about being in debt, perfect and correct about it. I was trying to prove to the world, and especially my family, that I could choose and I could have things in life without money. It's a lot of work, okay? It's a lot of work. So you can see how the clearing statement works. By the way, I also have a Getting Out of Debt Joyfully Taking Action course. It's an online course, so you can do it on your own free will at your own time. You can do it really quickly and do it again and again and again, or you can do it, do once a week or twice a week or something like that, whatever works for you. It's a brilliant, brilliant online course, okay? So in regards to money, so then you go, what's wrong about it? Like, what's wrong, mean, vicious, terrible, bad, and awful about this? I mean, how many of you grew up with that statement that you'd hear all the time is, money is the root of all evil? Money's just money. It's freaking people who are evil, okay? So money's just money. And then what's right and wrong, good and bad. So what's right about money, what's wrong about money, what's good about money, what's bad about money. That's just the beginning of the clearing statement, kids, okay? So then you've got POC, right? And the point of creation. So POC and POD. So POC is the point of creation. So let's look at money again. It's that point of creation of the thoughts, feelings, and emotions immediately preceding whatever you decided. So let's look at, you decide to, I don't know, you're going to buy yourself a really nice Christmas gift, okay? Maybe you're going to buy the money challenge, or you're going to buy the Getting Out of Debt Joyfully Taking Action. Yeah, I am plugging myself. But listen, so you go, okay, so immediately preceding, what's your thoughts, feelings, and emotions from that choice, from that decision? Oh, I can't do that. I can't spend money on myself because, I've got to spend money on the kids. Or, oh, that actually might create way too much freedom for me. I might have everything I have ever desired and more. Okay. So whatever your choice is, because if you make a choice and then you turn it into a decision, which is just, decision is something that is not malleable. It's sort of like, I decided this is what I'm doing. Okay. It's more about concluding something. Then you've got the point of destruction, and the point of destruction immediately following whatever you decided again. It's like pulling the bottom card out of a house of cards, like then the whole thing falls down. Remember when you used to play those games and, or pick up sticks or something like that, and then you'd pull one and everything would fall down. So it's that destruction that occurs when you're choosing something. So you've got a point of creation and a point of destruction. Now, I know people might not like this one, but if you look at marriage, okay, so look at the day that you get married. There's a point of creation, right? All those thoughts, feelings, and emotions immediately preceding that choice to be married. Now look at the destruction. I'm sorry to say this, but there's not many marriages I see that people just keep choosing greater and greater. A lot of the times when people choose to commit to another person, and in something like a marriage, they tend to maybe destroy something of themselves. Like I have so many stories in Relationship Done Different classes of people who gave up something that they enjoyed. Like they gave up bike riding because their partner doesn't do it. It's like, or, they gave up going skiing on the holidays, or they gave up going and hanging out with their mates, something like that. So there is a destruction of something as well. No, I get it. It's a choice. I get it. This is for you to have everything that you can friggin' be on this planet in this lifetime, okay? So if you go to the point of creation and the point of destruction and run this clearing statement, you will have more freedom and more clarity and go, yeah, actually, I'm okay with not bike riding, or I don't have to give it up. I can still go bike riding. I could go bike riding with someone else or do something different. Maybe you want to change it up, giving you more choice. That's what the clearing statement is about. Then you've got all 9, and all 9 stands for basically a whole lot of 9 layers of crap that we're taking out. I do not have the list of what those 9 are with me on me. They were created so many years ago when the amazing Gary Douglas and Dr. Dan here were looking at the clearing statement, because it's changed a lot over the years. It's just changed a lot in the past year. And they came up with all these 9 things that the layers of what we were changing when we ran this, okay? I think one of the ways that Gary described it too is it's like that, that somewhere in those 9 layers, you're sort of going, there's got to be something in there. I like the way he says, there's got to be a pony, because you couldn't put that much crap in one place without having a pony in there, without having the gold in there. So, but it's crap that you've generated yourself. Okay. You've created it. You can change it. So all those 9 layers, you can change it. And then you've got shorts, and shorts is the short version of what's meaningful about this. So let's look at money again. Okay. So what's meaningful about this? The money. What's meaningless about it? What's the punishment for it? Oof. What's the reward for this? Like, how many of you have been punished for having no money, or punished for having money? How many lifetimes have you been punished for having money? So you decided, well, I'm never going to choose that again. I'm going to choose poverty in this lifetime. Or I'm going to choose scarcity and struggle. Oh yeah, struggle. That's a good one, because everybody else is doing it. What's the reward for this? Okay. So that's in the shorts. Okay. Remember, we've got right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9, shorts, boys, POVEDs, bases, creations, and beyonds. Then you've got boys, and boys stands for the nucleated spheres. So, you know what I was saying before about, like, there are so many things out there. It's like, peel the layers of the onion, find out what's underneath it, blah, blah, blah. And so you can get to the core of the issue. What if you didn't have to get to the core of the issue? It's like, it's not an onion, okay? And it's an energetic structure. And the boys is like those, did you ever have one of those pipes? This is Gary's explanation, but it's great. It's like one of those bubble pipes, when you're a kid and you're blowing the bubbles, right? And you create a massive bubbles. Like you've got the bubble pipe, you're growing all these bubbles, and then you create all these bubbles, and then maybe bubbles come inside the bubbles, okay? So as you pop one bubble, it sort of fills back in. So basically these have nothing to do with the areas of your life where you've tried to change something continuously with no effect. So, you just keep going around and around and around and around, and it keeps showing up again and again and again. How many of you have chosen that with money? How many of you have chosen that with relationships? I know for a very long time, every person I was choosing to be in some sort of relationship with, they were different body, but very similar people, like similar judgments, because those judgments match the energy of my judgment. So I kept choosing people that matched that. Okay. So those boys, those nucleated spheres, that would change and can change. Okay. So bear with me. Okay. Everywhere that you're going, this is too much, I can't hear it all. We destroy and uncreate it times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9, shorts, boys, POVEDs, bases, creations, and beyond. See, that's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. So then you've got POVEDs, which I don't know. I think the next ones are some of my favorite. So the POVEDs are all the points of view, that you are avoiding and defending that keeps that in existence. Now, so what points of view are you defending and avoiding that holds your current financial reality in place? Everything at that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9, shorts, boys, POVEDs, bases, creations, and beyonds. Now, I also like to look at this not together sometimes. So if you ask yourself the question, what are you defending with your current financial reality? And notice there's an energy that comes up. And everything at that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9, shorts, boys, POVEDs, bases, creations, and beyonds. Now, what are you avoiding with your current financial reality? And everything at that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9, shorts, boys, POVEDs, bases, creations, and beyonds. Okay. So that's the POVEDs, right? So the next one that got added recently is the bases. And the bases is the plural form of basis. Okay. So, and a basis is the structure you use to have the right life. You look at the places where you win and where you lose, and how you can weigh and measure that loss or win of all situations. So, and the way I would look at that too is, like, what are you basing your choices on? So if you look at, again, your financial reality, it's like, what did you base your choice on? Okay. So you use your different personalities that you create, which is a whole other thing too. I think I've got a podcast on that. You use your personalities you create to base something on. Like if you go, oh, well, I'm shy. I mean, you're an infinite being. You can choose to be anything, right? So if you say I'm shy and you're basing a choice on, well, I'm shy, I couldn't do that. I could never be out there like that. I could never put myself out there. Oh, so you're basing your lack of money and the struggle that you're choosing, your financial reality on your personality that you decided that you are shy, that sort of thing. Okay. Like, what are you basing your financial reality on today? What's it based on? What's the basis of your choices? Are you saving for a rainy day? Have you decided that, the shit's going to hit the fan again, or that you have to pay for everybody else? What are you basing your financial reality on? Okay. Everything at that is times a godzillion. We destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad. Pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, proverbs, bases, creations, and beyond. Then you've got creations. And creations is the short form for realms of creation. And I love this. This to me is like a new order. And that new order is about, being in question, choice, possibility, and chaos. Now, we've spoken in Access a long time about the elements of creation are asking questions. Because, truly, how many times were you taught to ask questions at school? No, you were taught to have the answer, right? And if you ask too many questions, at home or at school, it was like, well, you should be quiet. You should know this. You should blah, 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 rather than actually being in question about everything. Socrates was a great believer of being in question about everything. Okay. So we talked about the four elements of creation were question, choice, possibility, and contribution. Now, the interesting thing is that's still there. Okay. And so many people couldn't quite grasp the contribution part. It was like, oh, that means I have to give. No. What if it's also about receiving? Okay. So contribution can be found anywhere. Contribution can be found in nature, in just waking up, in talking to somebody, in walking into a cafe, in anything. It's if you're willing to receive it. So that's the elements of creation. What this is, okay, maybe shouldn't have gone there because maybe I'm going to confuse you, but maybe not. So creations, as I said, is that short form for realms of creation. This is a new order, and this is about question, choice, possibility, and chaos, okay? Which is about how you actually have to learn how to create and recognize what you've created so that you can truly create everything you desire the way you would like to, okay? But how many of you keep not choosing that? Now, today, I told you I had a bit of a in my world, and not big, but just there was something just sitting in my world. So I kept choosing in 10-second increments, which I spoke about at the beginning of the podcast. Great tool. And cat the jardy. I didn't commit to much today. But, throughout my day, I was like, okay, so this. And then when I went to the beach and I was lying on the beach and I'm looking up at the clouds, I actually ran some of this as well. And I was like, what am I avoiding by choosing this? And what am I defending by choosing this? Because I had that energy of like, I'm so not motivated. I don't want to do anything. That's the key, right? For me, I went, oh, I don't want to do anything. So I was lying there going, what can I be? What would I like to be today? And I just sort of chose a different sense of relaxation and a different choice, and just allowed like the earth and the ocean and everything to contribute to me and my body, and really destroyed and uncreated anywhere that I thought, here you go, that I thought that I had to do anything today. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, proverbs, bases, creations, and beyond. And just kept asking, what can I be today? What can I be? Because we tend not to acknowledge that being. And I started looking at what it is, what more that I would like to actualize in the world. And it's funny, I brought up money here, and money is such a big thing for so many people right now. And there's a lot that I'd like to, actualize in the world that actually takes money. Okay. So then I was saying to myself, so what action are you going to choose? What are you going to choose? And I came back and still wasn't committing to anything, but now I'm here sitting doing this podcast, and it's awesome. I'm really grateful that I sat down and did this podcast, and I'm here with you guys, and you get to receive this. Okay. So that realms of creation, question, choice, possibility, and allowing that chaos. That chaos is being out of control. That chaos is, well, not trying to control everything, because when you try and control everything, you do not receive. And I am really asking for more and more and more and more awareness and more clarity on each and every day and each and every single one of my choices. But here's what basis gives you is, how many times have you done that and you've gone to the right and wrong of it, or the win or lose, rather than it's just a choice. So, one of the things I've been looking at a lot recently is choice is my reality. If you are on my Telegram thread, we have that screensaver on there. And if you're not in the Telegram thread and you want to jump on, there's a whole bunch of things there. But choice is my reality, okay? Because if you are no longer choosing from the basis, you're no longer choosing from having to get it right, or already judging that you're wrong, or looking at, the winning, losing. I mean, like I said, we're coming up to Christmas and New Year, and it's always such a weird ass energy, right? It's like everyone's like, oh, I've got to do this. And it starts to get frantic. And then they're like, I didn't do everything I was going to do this year. Or what am I going to do next year? And do, rather than what can I be today? Okay, what can I be today? And allow that chaos, allow the chaos to show up in your world so you can choose a different reality. Okay, so realms of creation, that's what creations is short for. Have you ever wanted to have all the Access classes in the same place? Or you're new to Access and would like to discover more? Check out the app at access.me. There's a class for any topic, and you literally have access to over 25 years of classes of change, choice, and possibility. Then you've got Beyonds. And Beyonds is all those feelings and those sensations that you get when your heart stops. Like, it's like, it's like, oh my goodness. Like, I mean, I don't know how old all of you are listening to this, but something like 9/11 was a really good Beyond. It's just like that. Wow. I had an accident. Well, I didn't really have an accident. I fell off a whitewater rafting boat a little while ago, a few weeks ago, last month, in Costa Rica in San Miguel River, and I got trapped underneath the boat. There was a rock, my body and me. I think I've described this on the podcast, but here's the thing, that's a Beyond, When I realized I was trapped under the boat, and I went, this is fucking not happening. I'm not dying on San Miguel River. This is not happening. Like, okay. And really had to listen to my body and was like, okay, how do I get out of here? But that energy is a Beyond, okay? Or if you get a phone bill and it's really large and you're like, what the hell? That's a Beyond, okay? So it doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't have to be like this, near-death experience. It could just be a bill that's too much. Or you're looking at, a piece of jewelry and you're like, wow, this is beautiful. And then someone says it's $100,000 ring and you're like, what? Something like that. And it could be the other way. Something's super cheap and you're like, oh my goodness, it's that sensation, okay, that you get. So that's the clearing statement, ladies and gentlemen. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9 shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. So use it. Please use it. Please use it. Please use it. And if you don't know where to use it, just use it. And if you have no idea and you're like, I can't remember all that, that's okay too. You can literally just say, okay, so POC and POD, everything that Simone was talking about on that podcast, and just POC and POD, okay? Because everything has literally everything has energy. Everything has energy, right? Maybe the chair that you're sitting on, or the table that's in front of me, or the computer, everything has energy. So if everything has energy, then it's in that energy that when we use that clearing statement, it destroys and uncreates everything, so that, like I said, you have this blank slate. I often look at using the clearing statement would be like, when you've got your computer open, you've got all these programs and lots of different things going on. And if you're like me, I don't shut it that much. And then my computer just goes, hey. And I'm like, okay, time to close everything down. It's like that. You're just going delete, 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 delete. And it's like this reboot, okay? So if you don't know where to use it, that's okay. Just use it. Pock and Pod, just use the whole thing if you desire. Record it for yourself and just put it on a loop. Right and wrong, good and bad, Pock and Pod, all nine, shorts, boys, proverbs, bases, creations, and beyonds. I love that. Right and wrong, good and bad, Pock and Pod, all nine, shorts, boys, proverbs, bases, creations, and beyonds. One more time. Right and wrong, good and bad, Pock and Pod, all nine, shorts, boys, proverbs, bases, creations, and beyonds. Okay? And let's put that with your financial reality, like I said, with your body, the movement of your body, your family, your sex life. It's like your lovers, business, anything, okay? With anything. Even just start your day with it. You could write it down on some paper and put it on your mirror. Just be like, okay, well, how many bases do you use to start your day? Like, what do you like? Oh, it's Monday. Literally, that's a basis. Oh, it's Monday, so that's what this means. Or it's Saturday night, that's what this means. You know, it's Tuesday lunchtime, that's what this means, okay? So you create that based on something, based on the day of the week, based on the month, based on all of this stuff, rather than giving yourself choice. Who gives a shit if it's Monday or Tuesday or the weekend? You know, you look at it and you go, okay, but what am I choosing right now? That choice, change, action is imperative, guys. Let's start living. Truly, 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 let's start living. You'll hear me talking about this, but so far, what I was looking at with 2025 is magic is in every moment. Every moment. So thank you for being here, guys. And don't forget to subscribe. And, can you write us a review? I would love it if you wrote a review on wherever you're listening. And we are also on YouTube. Go to YouTube, subscribe to YouTube, but Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening, if you could write us a review, that would be amazing. So, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram and slide into our DMs and tell us anything that you would like to hear about too. So again, thank you for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to hit the follow or subscribe button on your favorite listening platform to get notified of new episodes. We read all the reviews, so if there's any topic you would like to hear about, let us know. If you'd like to know more about the tools, information, and classes mentioned in the podcast, head on over to SimoneMilasas.com and follow me on Instagram at Simone Milasas, or the podcast has its very own link on Instagram at Choice, Change, and Action. Don't forget, you can download the show notes. And lastly, have way too much fun today.